You're all in section 22. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready when you are.
Okay. That's my audience. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is p4.final.dcharriez, and this is social media. Doing a speech, a policy speech, my persuasive speech on Facebook addiction disorder. Imagine you find yourself incoherent, unable to function, you can't sleep, you can't eat, you feel sick, and the only thing you can think of is, what's my next status update going to be? Right? What should be done if you find yourself in this situation? I'm here to persuade you, my audience, the addictive qualities of social media and comparisons to substance abuse as my base. So we're going to go through three things. It's going to be identify addiction, the causes of addiction, and comparisons between both Facebook and addictive substance abuse, as well as the solutions. So, defining addiction. Addiction is defined as a compulsive physiological disorder with a need for using habit-forming substances. This is definition I got from the Webster Online Dictionary. And what I can think about is, how many of us drink coffee in the morning? I'm one, and I can't function without it. This would be my physiological disorder. I get headaches, and I get frustrated. So common signs of addiction. One of the common signs of addiction, as defined in through the Alcoholics Anonymous website. It's a PDF that I downloaded. Defines the addiction as abandoning activities such as hanging out with new friends. You don't find yourself doing that often. You stop playing your sports. You stop doing your homework. Your study habits become they get lessened, all because of your substance abuse. The second common sign is suspension or other from work, as well as from school, due to lack of sleep, due to the abuse of the substance. And third is taking risks, inclusive of sexual risks. Right now I want to just go into the causes of substance abuse. And these are two causes of substance abuse, three causes that I'm going to talk about. One, and they correlate with the addiction. Poor social coping skills. You don't know how to be with people when you're sober. You can't function socially because you're not in the element of an abusive behavior. Poor school performance. There's an article I read online, and it was a blog from a doctor. His name is Alan Leshner. The article is called "Addiction is a Brain Disease," and it was posted on September 10, 2012. The article pretty much states that brains have been affected by drug use. I think that's common knowledge to a lot of us, but I wanted to reinforce that. And three, perception of approval of drug behavior. So what I mean by this is, when you're having this conversation with your friends after you've went through a night of drinking, and you compare your stories. I'm no lightweight. I I woke up the next morning and I don't know what happened. Okay, this is a definition of the perception of approval of drug use behavior. So now that I've identified the addiction and some common signs, I'm going to talk about the comparison between Facebook addiction disorder and the addiction of substance abuse. Leslie Walker is a reporter. She wrote a blog on about.com on the social media tab, and she wrote and defines Facebook addiction disorder as spending excessive amounts of time on Facebook. So that's the definition of a fad, and you may or may have not heard this phrase before, but fad is also known as Facebook addiction disorder. And the common signs of addiction is excessive time on Facebook. So people spend 1 to 3 hours on Facebook. The loss of sleep, late hours into the night, updating your statuses, checking up other people's statuses. You just don't function well because you're losing that lack of sleep, and that rolls over to the next day, which I mentioned earlier before about the work. It affects your work, affects your school. Lack of sleep. I'm going to just show you a slide really quickly. This slide I got off of a Census Bureau website, and the information on here is based on the usage of networks such as MySpace, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And the information is from 2000 to 2012. They didn't have information for 2012 for the usage of social networking, but it did go up to 2011. So what this pretty much states is, and I use the ranges only from 18 to 29, the blue indicates the usage of social networking sites, like I said, through MySpace, Facebook, or LinkedIn. And then the frequency is in the pink, and that shows how many of this age range is logging on at that amount of time. So the causes of Facebook addiction disorder: compulsive updating of your statuses. You check in wherever you're at. You check in Starbucks, you check in the restroom, and I've seen posts of people posting their intimate statuses, which is leave it alone. Spending more than 1 to 3 hours logged on. This is considered a cause of Facebook addiction disorder. Missed work deadlines, late for work due to lack of sleep, not doing work because you're logged on, or logged on while you're at work. These are all behaviors as well. Paula Price is a marriage and family therapist, and she did an article that I got online. It's called "It's Turned into a compulsive to disassociate yourself from the real world to live on Facebook land." We've seen the substances and Facebook addiction. We've seen the causes of Facebook addiction and the signs of it as well. I'm going to move into how to solve the problem. And to solve the problem, these are practical steps that one can take to minimize the amount of time that you're on Facebook. Time management. Allocate appropriate limits of time